Welcome
friends.
back.
Welcome to another episode of the Golden Age of Gear with Derek and Joey.
Hello.
Today is a special one for me. We're talking about this guitar. This is my new to me Harmony Stratotone that I got from my pal JJ, who's sort of based in Guelph, Ontario area.
Okay. Yep.
And I met him on the internet a handful of years ago, and he'd asked me to help him make some demo videos for this great pedal company out of the States called Native Audio.
Okay.
So we made a few demos of their products together, and he had traded me for one of my heroes, the guitar player named Kevin Breit, and he's a Toronto-based guitar player. I think actually he's in Guelph now too, or maybe he's back in Toronto. I don't know. But anyways, he's one of my favorite guitar players, slide players. He played with Nora Jones, and the list goes on and on and on. But he's also done a bunch of stuff on his own. Has a band called the Sisters Euclid that was heavily influential for me. And so I was doing these demos, and JJ said, "Hey, what do you like? What do you want in exchange for doing these videos?" And I was like, "Well, why don't we just trade some gear? What do you have?" And he said, "Well, I got a bunch of stuff from Kevin. So I don't know if you're interested in it. I got Did we do a video on my Analog Man 80RX20?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
So
delay,
I got that in exchange for doing some of those videos. And he and I got to talking, and I said, there's this video of Kevin playing this Harmony Stratotone, this it's copper 2-pickup Harmony Stratotone, when he had a residency at the Orbit Room in Toronto, which I ended up having like a once a month gig at the Orbit Room with Chris Cadell when I was living in Toronto. So that was kind of cool, full circle. Anyway, I said, if you ever come across one of those, let me know. And so a couple of years went by, and then he texted me out of the blue and said, "Hey, not only do I have a Harmony Stratotone here, but it's one of Kevin's. It's not the copper one,
Okay.
because that's the one that he loved, but he had 2 of them.
Yep.
And he might have even had more, but I think this was kind of his spare. So a quick ask of ChatGPT, and the serial number tells us that it's late 56, early 57. I have no idea what the deal is with these pickups. I don't really know anything about this guitar, but when JJ said, "Hey, this is available, what are you interested?" I jumped at it. I didn't have any cash, so I just sent him a bunch of pedals.
Nice.
Just sort of said, "Hey, like I need to have this guitar. Kevin is like one of my tops." So yeah, and that's how I got my hands on it, and I think the tuners look like they have been replaced with Cloisons, so they're decent tuners. Everything else has probably had some fretwork done, actually, looking at it now. But everything else is pretty original, as far as I know. I don't know a ton about these guitars, to be honest, other than they're absolute vibe machines. It's not a short scale, which it kind of looks like a short scale because it's so little, but it's not. It's a regular scale, and it's just killer. We're playing through the D25 JL, and then we're also we're enhancing it with the help of our dear friend Henrik Nordvang with the 83 drive, which has been our favorite drive so far.
Yeah.
I think on
hands
the show.
down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Why don't you go ahead and like and subscribe?
It's the best. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, check out the other episode we did on the 83 drive. Also check out the other episode on the Analog Man, the delay pedal.
The ARDX20.
Yeah.
I don't know where they came up with that name.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. Naming stuff is not fun. Like, it's really not. I'm really thankful that like Dan had named the generator, and then he actually named the dynamis as well. And then all I did was just make things with the starting letter of each one and what the wattage was or what channel it was. That's our naming convention.
Yeah. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's like naming albums is the same way. We've always named our records. It's always been a title track,
right?
Kind of thing. So there's you don't have to think of some funky name. You just name it after one of the songs.
Do you find it difficult to name songs then? or like title, I should say.
You know what's funny is I don't, but a lot of times I'll say, this song is called this, and somebody will go, it shouldn't be called that, it should be called this, and I'll go, oh yeah, shit, you're right.
You're like,
The amount of times that I've named songs like a lyric that doesn't make any sense is too many to count. And I'll play it for Anna or my brother, and like, I think we should call this song, whatever, because that's the main lyric in the chorus. But oh yeah, that makes more sense. Anyway, I'm an idiot.
So do you change them then? Like if you're
Oh yeah,
like 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I'll play through a couple of sounds on this guitar. It definitely needs some work, which I'll get done eventually. Like it's got these stacked concentric pots that
Right. Reminds me of the Dan Electro.
Yeah.
The 56 U2 pots.
Yeah, I love them, the way they look, but these ones are kind of stuck together, so you kind of always have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a little bit of deoxit will sort that out. But so here's the neck pickup, and I'll play it just fretted. It's got a lot of like, it's got a lot of girth to the sound, but then there's also a lot of Girth Brooks. I got friends. But it also has a lot of stringiness to it. So it's like, on one hand, it'll go. Like very sort of thummy tone to like. Still got some spank to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a cool guitar.
Okay, my first like observation when you brought it in here is I love all relic guitars, and also you can tell us in the comments if you hate it or not. I love it even when people do like the road worn like relic right from factory thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. As long as it looks like it's had the shit beat out of it and has been played forever, I'm in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there is something extra cool about a guitar that is like nearing 70 years old.
Yeah.
That like this didn't come this way. It's got lots of like nicks and dings, but the checking on it looks really, really fantastic.
Yeah, the checking is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also the neck looks massive to me.
It's not small. Like it's quite wide, which I like. It's not really it's bigger than you'd think.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Play an E7 chord like down here.
An E7, like, oh, I don't know E7, dude. I know
like play an E chord, and then get rid of that finger.
Oh yeah.
So that's your A chord.
Gotcha.
And then open is your E chord. And then move the whole thing up. Oh, too far. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your B chord.
I'm not gonna do that,
dude. Now you can play in an open tuning.
Very good.
Yeah.
I just need to take one of the slides that you gave me and I'll be able to
just wang around on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like next week, I should be good at it.
Yeah. It's pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all you do is this.
It's just flappy hands.
Yeah.
The flappiest hands. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. That's pretty much all I do.
Yeah. This is interesting too. Like the heel on here, like that it contours right up to it. I don't know how well any of you guys can see that, but there's no like dip there like you'd normally see a completely separate joint like that.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a, I don't know if it's neck.
The neck is all one piece.
It neck
looks
through?
like.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Looks like it is.
Yeah.
Either that or the finish is just cracked very symmetrically beside where the neck joint would be.
Dummy.
Yeah. Have you played any of the new Harmony stuff?
I have not. I've heard they're pretty cool.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, they all look like Dan Electros to me.
Yeah.
Now, I played a couple of them in Montreal at, I want to say it's called like Diplomat.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Very cool guitar store.
Yeah.
In Montreal. Lots of like a few vintage pieces, but lots of like Fender custom shop and
Cool stuff.
Yeah, and I played one of the new Harmonies because I was like, hey, that looks like a Dan Electro, but it's not. It's also like expensive. Like it's not a now it would be $800 Dan Electro. But yeah, I played one that is very similar to the the 56U2 Dan Electro. That's the standard, like the
Lipsticks.
single cut that.
Yeah.
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 I don't know who played it. I have one, but not easily accessible. With the lipstick pickups. And anyway, they look a lot like that, but the necks on them feel great. And the guitar actually doesn't feel like a toy. Like this doesn't feel like a toy because that's actual wood, where the Danos are all hollow bodies, and they feel like they're the ones from the early 90s like that I have. They feel like they're made out of like particle board or like really cheap material.
Yeah.
Probably aren't, but
I think originally they like in the early days of Dan Electro, they were just made of plywood, I think.
Yeah.
But and that's kind of part of their charm. But
yeah.
I don't know. This thing's really cool. There's parts about it, like the action. There's no truss rod, so you can't really you can't really adjust it. And it's got fairly light strings, but the action is pretty high. So you might be able to bring the bridge down. It looks like it's been shimmed quite a bit.
What gauge strings? I see you're using D'Addario, but what are you using on that?
I have no idea. This is just what it shipped with.
Yeah. Okay.
So they feel like 10s or 11s.
Yeah.
Probably 11. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's always interesting to me to see guitars from, the 50s and 60s, and that are still in good playable condition, because that's kind of a miracle that a piece of wood survives that long without the neck just being completely screwed.
Well,
and even if it has a truss rod, like the amount of times that it might have been adjusted in 70 plus years is insane, and you might bottom it out.
Well, yeah, and this thing, like, I totally lost track of what I was going to say.
And we were talking about necks, but
yeah. Yes, they do. I'll play it a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll flip on that Henrik Nordvang
Which
pedal.
one do you want?
It's so fun to play. It's got this really, like, we used it on our last record on one tune, and compared to my other guitars, it's so mid-forward that it almost sounds like you've got a wah-wah cocked a little bit.
Yep.
Like, it's got so much mid-range content in that sort of like low-mid frequency that in comparison with other instruments, it's pretty drastic. On its own, I don't feel like it's overtly mid-range. Like, it's very mid-rangey, but it's not like holy moly. But compared to some of the other sounds that I got on the record, it's pretty honky. But I really love playing it. It's so much fun to play. And the fretboard being wider is kind of a cool thing that when I first saw it, I thought, oh, that might be a bit of a bear to kind of handle. Also, because I don't have huge hands, I have pretty small hands. But I kind of like it, and I kind of wish more of my guitars had wider fretboards like this.
It looks like as wide as a classical guitar. Like when you first sat down with it, especially at about the like 12th to 15th fret. Yeah. Like for me looking here, I was like, that neck is big. Like it reminds me of nylon string guitars.
Yeah.
Okay, question for you about that. So like about this not necessarily this specific guitar, but how much of you wanting this is that you are wanting to get a different sound, and that you identify a guitar as having a very specific sound that you need, versus this was Kevin Breit's, you grew up kind of, idolizing Kevin or like really looking up to Kevin. So it becomes something that you want through association with Kevin more than, oh, that has this sound and I need that sound.
It's more the latter. I mean, I think it's a happy accident that I think it sounds really, really cool. But it was more about like, seeing him play one and seeing how he played it. And what I've always loved about Kevin's playing is no matter what he plays, he tends to play everything differently, yet still it sounds just like him. And I mean that seems obvious, but there's it's kind of hard to describe. But when I saw him play his copper Stratotone in those videos, I don't know, I was just really inspired by how it made him play. And I don't know, to be honest, like the way he looked when he was playing was really
the cool factor.
Yeah, super cool. So I kind of was always like, if I ever see one, and I remember actually there's a restaurant in Thunder Bay, I don't know if it's still there, but they had guitars on the walls, and they had one of these literally like screwed to the wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll give you $500 right now to take that guitar off the wall. And the guy was like, no, I like that one. It was copper. It might have even had gold foils in it. But I could be wrong. I might be misremembering that. I don't even know if the Stratotones did have gold foils, but it was a copper one, and I wanted it. And I was like, there it is. I'll get the work done to it. I had $500 per diem in my pocket. It was like literally spend the rest of the tour surviving off of green room food. But the guy said no. So yeah, I'd just been chasing after one, and then to get my hands on one that actually belonged to Kevin was like super special factor. So, and this will be something that I have in my collection forever.
Yeah. So. I was like that with I have an Ernie Ball Music Man Van Halen guitar that was my dream guitar. Yeah, Edward was his name. He was fairly good at the guitar.
Right.
Yeah. But to me, I thought that guitar looked the coolest, and it kind of embodied everything that I aspired to as a guitar player in my teens, right? I was like, this is the most badass looking guitar. There are several people in this room right now that hate that guitar and think it looks like horrible, and both of them are laughing right now. And I don't know if Manny hates it. So, it's interesting to me that we get that, and it doesn't matter whether you're like an amateur player like I am or you're a professional like you are, that like we get those kind of, I don't want to say idols, but like those guitar players that we look up to. And I mean, it might be somebody like Kevin, where I had never heard of Kevin until you brought the delay pedal in and we're talking about him. So it's interesting that there's people who are not necessarily household names that influence us, and we end up thinking like, oh, that guitar's super cool. My actual only US Stratocaster is that for me, that my guitar teacher when I was 14 years old had a gunmetal blue American Standard Stratocaster, and to me that is the best color for a Stratocaster in the world. I have one. I had bought his from him, and I gave it to my brother Scott because he played in a band with the guy's name was Dustin. He played in a band with Dustin, and Scott had always wanted it. And I was like, I got lots of guitars. You can have it. It means more to you. And then afterwards, I was like, shit, why did I do that? I love that guitar. So I bought another one. But it's just 100%. It's just the association of that guitar player and what that guitar player meant to me as like a young musician starting out, and and like that guitar and specifically that color resonates to me. If I see that color on any other guitar, I'm like, nah.
But on a Strat,
it's only
that's
it has to have a maple neck. It can't have a rosewood fingerboard. So it's interesting. I'd love to know from you guys that are listening or watching this. Drop it in the comments. Do you guys have specific instruments that have that kind of there's some nostalgia to it, but it's also just this, you have this amazingly great memory of either somebody or something that influenced you that's why you want that piece. And if so, what is that guitar for you?
Yeah. This is definitely that for me. There's I'm thinking about the guitars that I own, and even like my gold tops, which are very precious to me, that's tied to like the first guitar that I lusted over at Long and McQuaid was a gold top dark back R7. And I was going to pull the trigger and somebody bought it out from underneath me. I think actually, I think it might have been Al Seeley. Do you know Al?
I don't know him, but I know of him.
I think he might even still have it. I'll have to bug him. But that was kind of like tied to something from when I was younger. So when Alex and I were working on the Sorokins that I have, that was definitely my second one is a gold top with a dark back, and that was, you know, tip of the hat to that guitar. But this is kind of like, of all of my heroes, this is probably the biggest,
right?
In that, like, you know, Robin Ford's Telly is cool. Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat obviously is very special, but it was never like, oh, I got to have one of those.
Right.
Ry Cooder's #1 with gold foils, I definitely, you know, I tried to emulate that with one of my guitars, but still, it was never like, oh, I need that sound. I just thought it was really cool. This is probably the one.
Well, and there's a difference when you know that person owned it. Like, for me, like, there's a difference between my gunmetal blue Strat that I have right now and the one that Scott has.
Yeah, right.
Like,
sure.
Scott's is cooler.
For sure.
And, yeah. Mine's in better shape, but Scott's is cooler.
Yeah,
so I
totally.
may have to be like...
I would love to know if anybody knows anything about this guitar. These pickups are really cool. They sound awesome. But if you look really closely, the material is actually like kind of purple.
Okay.
So I imagine it's some kind of Bakelite or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, they almost look mismatched. This one looks black and this one looks purple. But yeah, if anybody knows anything about this guitar and can give any information, I would love to know more about it.
I am...
Oh, look at this. This is not the original pickguard.
No?
No. There's
a
fucking hole right there.
Yeah, and a screw hole here for where the pickguard went.
There you go. Well, I'm going to have to chase after the original pickguard and return this thing to its glory. So maybe these are not the original pickups either.
Yeah. Well, now you have a whole new... a new quest. Like, that's what you
God,
need.
I wish I'd never noticed that. Oh, well. Yeah, if anybody knows anything, let us know. And I don't know, maybe I'll play us out.
Yeah,
okay.
Sounds great.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Golden Age of Gear with Derek and Joey.
Cheers.
We'll see you next time.